I think we all know that feeling when we lie down at the end of the day and our mind just doesn't shut up, right? I mean, how many times does it need to replay a conversation from this morning or rehearse some worry about tomorrow? The thing is, though, that isn't how it should work. The mind is supposed to be a tool, but more often than not, it feels far more like a cage. It's rather relentless when it comes to judging or narrating stuff that is happening at any time, isn't it? Don't worry, you're not alone. This feeling of being a prisoner of your own thoughts is one of the most defining struggles of our world today. When we're surrounded by noise, eventually our minds will become noisy too. Who would have thought? So, what do? You hatch an escape plan, preferably one that isn't some abstract gobbledygook, but something practical and real, something even your average 2-year-old could do, if they can talk yet. And wouldn't you know it, that way exists, and I am going to tell you all about it in this video. Before we can escape, though, we need to understand the prison itself and what it entails. For you see, the human mind is absolutely brilliant in its own right. It is the thing responsible for just about every solution we've ever come up with, after all. But when left to its own devices, it creates problems just as easily as it solves them. And that, in turn, is the source of so much of the anxiety plaguing our current reality. Take a look at the well-known replay loop, for example, where you endlessly analyze something you did, convinced you should have done it differently. That one time your friend told you to buy Bitcoin because that was the future, but you thought it was just a fad. Yes, thank you, dear mind. Tell me yet another time that I could have been a millionaire by now. It still feels like yesterday. Then there's the pre-play, where you anxiously and vividly imagine the conversation you are going to have with your shift manager, only for him to never show up in the end. It's exhausting, like turning up every heater to max level and leaving it on every day, 24/7. The energy drain is ridiculous, and don't even get me started on the money lost. It just creates this low-grade background anxiety that follows us everywhere. And eventually we get so used to it. We think that this is just who we are and have always been. We say, I'm just a worrier, or I'm an overthinker, identifying with the very mechanism that causes us pain. The core of the problem is a case of mistaken identity. We believe that we are our thoughts. The voice in our head is talking, and we assume it's telling the absolute truth, forgetting that our thoughts are often just a personal firewall for reality. The walls of this prison are built from illusion. The bars are made of thoughts about the past, which is gone, and the future, which doesn't exist yet. And while some gurus might tell you that nothing has to be done in order to get out of this prison, that advice doesn't cut it anymore. Just knowing isn't enough. To get out, we need a plan. And this plan has 3 parts: meditation, surrender, and self-inquiry. The first step is to learn to control your focus through meditation. Now, if meditation makes you think of sitting in a pretzel shape for hours trying to have 0 thoughts, this isn't it. Trying to force your thoughts to stop is like trying to untangle a knot by pulling harder. Instead, meditation is the practice of noticing your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Imagine you're standing on the balcony of your apartment, looking down at the highway. The cars driving by in a continuous stream are your thoughts. Most of your life, you've been in your car or on the bus on this highway, getting tossed around by every bad driver cutting lanes. Meditation is the simple act of getting out, sitting on the sidelines, and just watching the flow of cars pass by. You see all these thoughts move past, but you don't participate, you just watch. This practice is often called mindfulness. To stay on the balcony, you use an anchor. The easiest one is your breath, because it's always with you and it's always happening right now. By focusing on the physical sensation of breathing, you give your mind a place to rest. Let's try it for a moment. Just bring your attention to the feeling of your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering your nostrils. Notice your chest or your belly rising and falling. For a few seconds, let your entire world be this simple sensation. Inhale and exhale. And by the way, if you want to have your very own 100% personal SnakeSpeak meditation, just ask your question and we will create one just for you. For more info, check the description box below. Inevitably, your mind wandered. Was it because of that little ad, or because a thought came in and you followed it? Nobody knows, but that is the most important part of the practice, nonetheless. The moment you realize your mind has wandered is a moment of success. You've just woken up from the dream of thinking. All you have to do is gently guide your attention back to the breath. That's it. That's the whole exercise. Each time you return to the breath, you're strengthening the muscle of choosing where your attention goes. The goal is to find moments of peace amidst the noise. With practice, you'll eventually start to notice tiny pauses between your thoughts. Ancient yogic philosophy calls this turiya, a state of pure awareness that's always present beneath the surface. So you see, meditation essentially teaches you how to turn down the volume of the constant noise around us. If meditation helps us find stillness, surrender helps us find peace. For many of us, and because we have been taught, the word surrender sounds like weakness or defeat. But in this context, it's actually an act of incredible strength. I mean, you try to recognize that the constant struggle to control everything is the very thing that's making you miserable, and see how hard to grasp that actually is. Surrender is yielding to the flow of life instead of fighting it. Want to see how to actually do that? Pick up a not easily destroyed object near you. Take something simple, like a pen or your keys. Now, squeeze it, with all of your might, like you are Zeus himself. Feel the tension that creates throughout your body, not just your hand. That effort is what it feels like to hold on to a grudge or the need to be right. And now, just let go. Drop it. Feel the immediate release, that sense of ease flowing back into your hand. That is the feeling of surrender. You stopped fighting and controlling, and for a moment, you found peace. So much of our mental energy is spent arguing, because we wish things were different. We resist the present moment when it doesn't match the story in our heads. Surrender is accepting what is right now. This practice extends to the idea of who we think we are. The ego, our sense of I, is a collection of attachments. Surrendering means letting go, and the best way to let go is via David R. Hawking's method. It's very much like meditation. In fact, it starts with a short period of focus, followed by scanning through the body and looking for tension. If you find some, just put your focus on it and relax it. That's it. Super simple. You can do this as often or as little as you want. Of course, the ego is going to tell you that this method is way too simple, but try it for yourself and be amazed. You could also read David R. Hawking's Letting Go book, but to tell the truth, I found it rather boring. The practical application here is to stop fighting. Give up on the notion that you are responsible for things you can't control, and trust that you can handle whatever comes next. Open yourself up to a flow and an intelligence far greater than your own anxious mind. Stop squeezing and allow yourself to relax. So we've learned to quiet the mind with meditation and make peace with reality through surrender. The final step is self-inquiry, or Atma Vichara, a practice that dismantles the prison from the inside out. If meditation is watching the thoughts and surrender is letting them go, self-inquiry is turning your attention around to find the one who is thinking in the first place. This method was famously taught by the 20th century sage Ramana Maharshi, and it revolves around one powerful question: who am I? This isn't a question you ask to get a mental answer. If you ask your mind, who am I, it will just give you a list of labels. These are the very ideas we're trying to see beyond. Instead, the question is used as a tool to trace the feeling of I back to its source. Here's how it works. When a thought shows up, instead of following it, you ask, to whom did this thought come? The immediate answer will be, to me. Then you ask the most important question, who am I? As you have probably noticed now, all these techniques are super easy, barely an inconvenience. Anyone can do them, and everyone probably should. Let's walk through it. A thought appears. I'm worried about tomorrow. Instead of getting lost in the worry, you inquire, who is this I that is worried? Your mind might go silent for a second or not. The important thing is that you aren't looking for an answer in words. The question is used to pull your attention away from the object of thought and back to the subject. Doing this repeatedly will lead to a peculiar insight. You are not your thoughts, because you are the one who is aware of your thoughts. Many wisdom traditions teach that this is your true nature. You are the awareness that witnesses both, your body and your mind. You're the Unreal Engine 5 scene itself, rendering everything in real time, while pretending the frame drops are a spiritual feature. Self-inquiry is a way to cut through the illusion that you are the character in the game. Every time you ask, who am I? You pull your attention away from the story and back to the light of awareness that's making it all visible. The goal, if you want to call it that, is to get rid of the false, temporary I. By persistently asking, who am I? The I thought eventually quiets down because it has nothing to stand on anymore. And when that happens and the mind rests, what remains is a peaceful sense of being. You become the answer. So that's the three-part escape plan: meditation, to find stillness in the noise; surrender, to let go of the fight with reality; and self-inquiry, to discover who you truly are. They are lifelong practices, not some quick fixes. The mind's prison was built over years of habit, and becoming free takes patience and consistency. Some days the noise will feel overwhelming. On those days, just sit and watch your breath. Other days you'll feel the strain of trying to control everything. On those days, just for a moment, let go. And in moments of quiet, you can ask the question that leads you home. Who am I? The journey starts now, with your very next breath. What are your own experiences with a noisy mind? Share your thoughts or questions in the comments. And if this guide was helpful, consider subscribing for more practical journeys into inner peace. If you feel drawn to move beyond just understanding these pointers intellectually, if you want to truly see for yourself what you already are, we've put together a structured digital retreat to help guide that deeper unfolding. It's designed to gently take you from conceptual glimpses into a more direct, lived recognition of your true nature. We use clear, straightforward guidance combined with guided meditations that invite you to rest in what's already here. You can find the full retreat linked in the description below. And if you prefer to listen without any music or background sound, we now offer audio-only versions of the newest videos. They're available exclusively on Patreon. Check the description for all the details and how to access them.